You know things are getting serious when a $13 billion floating airbase gets stalked by something that sounds like a lawnmower with wings. Iran sent a drone toward the USS Abraham Lincoln. Not a warning shot, not a press release, a drone. And what happened next wasn't just a shoot-down. It was a masterclass in modern naval dominance. Because when you poke a nuclear-powered supercarrier 500 miles out at sea, you better be ready for the reply. And trust me, the reply was not subtle. Before we get started, join the front line. Like, share, and subscribe. Before the algorithm goes dark, let's break down exactly how Iran tried to stick the USS Abraham Lincoln and why the response sent shockwaves across the Middle East. It starts with timing, mid-January, tensions boiling, protests inside Iran, Washington watching closely, Tehran pushing back, the region feeling like a gas station filled with fireworks. So what does the U.S. do? It moves a 100,000-ton statement piece into the neighborhood. The USS Abraham Lincoln, Nimitz-class supercarrier, nuclear-powered, carries around 70 aircraft, floating city, floating air force, floating problem. Now here's where things get interesting. Iran sees this carrier heading toward the Arabian Sea and thinks, we can't let that slide. So instead of direct confrontation, which would be catastrophic, they choose something deniable, flexible, gray zone, a drone, and not a hobbyist quadcopter. We're talking long-range strike-capable UAV, possibly a Shahed 129 or even the newer Shahed 139. Think endurance measured in hours, range measured in thousands of kilometers, payload heavy enough to matter. Now here's the key detail most people miss. The drone didn't just appear randomly, it maneuvered toward the carrier. Not parallel, not distant observation, toward it. And in military language, approaching with unclear intent is like someone sprinting at you in a dark alley saying, relax. You don't relax, you prepare. Because a carrier strike group doesn't just sail blind, it's layered defense stacked on layered defense. Radar pickets, Aegis destroyers, electronic warfare, air patrols, satellites. Think onion, but every layer can end your day. The drone was tracked the entire time. Warnings were issued, ignored, and here's where the chessboard flips. Instead of swatting the drone with ship-based missiles or jamming it into oblivion, the U.S. chooses something deliberate. They launch an F-35C. Now pause for a second. Launching a fifth-generation stealth fighter to deal with a single drone is like responding to a water balloon fight with a stealth bomber. It's overkill, but it's strategic overkill. Because this wasn't just about destroying a drone, it was about sending a message in high definition. The F-35C, carrier variant, stealth-coated, sensor-fused, Mach 1.6 capable, designed to survive in the most hostile airspace on Earth. Against it, a propeller-driven UAV. This wasn't a fight, this was a demonstration. And within minutes, splash, drone gone. No damage to the carrier, no casualties, no chaos, just silence. And a very clear signal. But here's the part that really matters. Distance. The USS Abraham Lincoln was operating roughly 500 miles from Iran's coast. 500 miles. Territorial waters extend about 12 nautical miles. Even exclusive economic zones stretch roughly 200 nautical miles. 500 miles out, that's international water. So this wasn't Iran defending its backyard. This was Iran reaching out into open ocean to test boundaries. And that changes the strategic tone completely. Because now the question becomes, was this reconnaissance or rehearsal? If that drone carried munitions, which some variants can, you're talking about hundreds of kilograms of payload. That's not symbolic, that's kinetic. Now imagine this scenario differently. Imagine the drone isn't intercepted early. Imagine it gets closer. Imagine the political fallout if even debris touches a U.S. carrier deck. Insurance markets panic. Oil spikes. Regional allies brace. Headlines explode. The margin for miscalculation in these waters is razor thin, which is why the U.S. response was immediate and overwhelming. But wait, this wasn't the only move on the board that day. Because while the drone incident unfolded in open waters, something else happened in one of the most strategically sensitive choke points on Earth. The Strait of Hormuz. If the Arabian Sea is tense, Hormuz is a pressure cooker with a lit match nearby. Roughly 20% of the world's petroleum flows through that narrow corridor daily. That's not a statistic. That's global leverage. And on the same day as the drone encounter, Iranian fast boats reportedly approached a tanker tied to U.S. military logistics. Fast attack craft, armed, aggressive posture. Not a full seizure attempt, but close enough to make everyone's pulse spike. And what does the U.S. do? It doesn't issue a tweet. It dispatches a guided missile destroyer. Now picture that visual contrast.